Welcome to Spurs Focus, your go-to spot for daily Tottenham news, transfers, and match updates. Don't forget to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button now. Let's dive into today's top story. Tottenham fans, buckle up because the transfer window just exploded. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed major news, and it's sending shockwaves through Spurs supporters. From dream deals to shocking twists. Here's everything you need to know. Tottenham have left themselves with plenty to get done in the remaining week of the summer transfer window in order to back Thomas Frank for the season ahead. Spurs want to compete across all 4 competitions this season, including their return to the Champions League, but have thus far only brought in 2 new faces in the shape of Mohamed Kudus and Joao Palhinha, while selling Son Heung-min to LAFC and losing James Maddison to an ACL injury for much of the season. With Dejan Kulusevski also out for the long term, Frank admitted to Football London on Friday that numbers-wise his Tottenham squad was therefore similar to the one he inherited before the window opened, albeit with the added quality of Kudus and Palhinha within his new system. So what do Spurs have left to do in the window before it closes on September 1st if they are going to bring in the number 10, winger, and the centre-back that Football.London has previously reported that Frank would like to bolster his squad with to the levels required for the fixture-packed season ahead? The goalkeeping department appears to be set, with Frank making it clear that Antonin Kinski would not be heading out of the club this summer, despite links with a move to League One side Lille. That means he has Guglielmo Vicario, Kinski and Spurs' only senior club-trained player in Brandon Austin, as 3 senior goalkeepers to use across the season. Josh Keeley left the club for Luton in a £1 million deal with a sell-on clause this summer, and the club also have young keeper Luca Gunter, who could get a loan again after last season's spell at non-league Wealdstone. Frank told Football London out in South Korea during the club's pre-season tour that he felt he had enough cover in the full-back spots, with Pedro Porro, Destiny Udogie, who returned to training last week, Jed Spence and Ben Davies, with Archie Gray also able to cover both sides. Frank made it clear that Davies is an important, experienced player for his squad, but the player himself admitted on the tour to Football.London that with 10 months left on his contract, he's not entirely sure what the future holds for him. Frank does want another centre-back because of his propensity to switch to a back 3 at times, and concerns over the availability of new captain Christian Romero and Mickey van der Vento after the pair played in just 26 and 22 games respectively of the 60 fixtures in the previous campaign. There is also Kevin Danzo, Davies, Radu Dragusin, who's on his way back from his own ACL injury, and summer signing Kota Takai, who is back working outdoors as he recovers from a plantar fascia problem in his foot, while 18-year-old Luka Vuskovic is expected to join Ashley Phillips and Alfie Dorrington by heading out on loan to get regular match experience if Spurs can bring another defender through the door, with Football.London previously reporting that Hamburg, where his brother plays, are keen to bring him to Germany. A new centre-back is lower down Tottenham's priority list than the new number 10 and winger, but it is a position Frank would like bolstered if possible before the window closes. Football London understands Spurs held discussions earlier in the summer about a potential transfer for Bayer Leverkusen centre-back Piero Hincapié, with the 23-year-old Ecuadorian having long been a player of interest under former managing director of football Fabio Paratici. However, a move for the player did not proceed after that point, and those within the club claim there has been no active interest or contact with Leverkusen regarding the defender since. Links to Burnley's Maxime Esteve were also knocked down earlier in the window, with the Frenchman later signing a new contract with the Clarets. It could be that, as is the case with Hincapié, Spurs look for a centre-back who can also cover one of the full-back slots to give some extra depth to Frank's options. The new contract for Romero is seen as a big building block for the Danes' defence, but he still wants a further body in there for when the games mount up, with technical director Johan Langer and the now consultant Paratici working through a list of potential targets in the role. When Spurs were winning games, the Aussies' approach of "it's just who we are, mate" went down well with supporters. It wore thin when the likes of Ipswich and Leicester were leaving North London with 3 points, but Postecoglou's biggest weakness is arguably Frank's biggest strength. In the Super Cup defeat by Paris Saint-Germain earlier this month, Spurs came within 60 seconds of beating Luis Enrique's side, Frank opted for a 3-5-2 formation, utilising Richarlison and Kudus in attack with an extra centre-back to nullify the threat of false nine Ousmane Dembele and suffocating the space for wingers Desire Doe and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. In Spurs' Premier League opener against Burnley when they were favourites to win and would be expected to have the majority of possession, Frank switched to a 4-3-3 formation and selected a midfield of Lucas Bergvall, Archie Gray and Pape Matar Sarr. Frank stuck with the same formation against Manchester City on Saturday, but brought Palhinha and Rodrigo Bentancur, two defensively minded midfielders, back into his starting lineup. The way the head coach has been able to adapt so early in his tenure, sometimes using a back four and sometimes a five, even bringing in Palhinha and Rodrigo Bentancur, that was a masterstroke, said Match of the Day pundit Micah Richards. Thomas Franks brought a know-how of how to see games out. Spurs are only the second side to win away to a Pep Guardiola-managed team in back-to-back seasons, and this one was far too easily achieved. City fans will have left the Etihad on Saturday with more questions than answers after a performance that was the complete antithesis of last weekend's win over Wolves. Creative, fluid patterns that led to goal-scoring opportunities were replaced by unimaginative, misplaced passes that resulted in very little positive. City underwhelmed for the majority, but you have to wonder how much of that underperformance was down to Spurs' organised and aggressive game plan. From the first time James Trafford was offered the ball in open play, it was evident that Thomas Frank had directed his players to rush the City box. Richarlison nearly nicked the ball off his toe in the 9th minute of the game. They swarmed in packs and never let City settle, eventually forcing the mistake for João Palhinha to score a well-timed second goal. City had no response. The visitors were content conceding possession, but hit City where it hurt, with more efforts at goal and a greater number of shots on target. Each of the two big chances they created ended in a goal. The two Manchester City generated ended in a Miss City were being confronted by a team who looked more confident and assured in their specific roles, like they had played this way for years. Like it came naturally. Cristiano Romano did a number on Erling Haaland, Palhinha, who won more duels than any other player, and Rodrigo Bentancur were more assertive than Tijani Reikinders and Nico Gonzalez in midfield, Mohamed Kudus more direct in attack. I have a feeling the performance was a little bit better than the result reflected Guardiola generously. His reading of the game will be incompatible with most others. Saturday's result was not only a statement victory for the Frank regime, but a triumph of managerial style. Having also won with Brentford in November 2022, Frank becomes only the third manager to beat Guardiola away from home with two different clubs. There's no coincidence in that. I definitely believe in the aggressive press, as you saw today, and as you saw with my Brentford team, Frank told reporters at the Etihad. I believe in being front-footed. I like that mentality. It's a more offensive way of defending. It's more fun to defend on the opponent's half. So yeah, let's go for it. Spurs may have started the campaign under the highly Spurs contradiction of having endured their worst domestic season for nearly 50 years, while simultaneously landing a first trophy since 2008. But Frank is out to change perceptions for good. We have been working so hard on our defensive principles. Mentality is the key thing. You need mentality to win games like this. He added, Tottenham have long been mocked for an absence of big game mindset. The term Spursy is rooted in that all too familiar shortcoming, evident just 3 weeks ago in Super Cup defeat to PSG after blowing a 2-0 lead. But they have passed the real acid test with flying colours in these opening 2 weeks, with Frank's fingerprint also all over the 3-0 downing of Burnley. Even failed pursuits to sign a no-10, losing out on Eberechi's to Arsenal just this week, have not derailed focus. Spurs' creative side has shone, scoring 5 times while registering 2 clean sheets. 6 points and a goal difference of +5 represents their best start to a league season. A small sample size, yes, but a big change in identity and fortitude. The question now will be, how long can it last? Transfer talk is heating up at Tottenham Hotspur as the summer window enters its final days. Norwegian striker Alexander Sørloth has been linked with a Premier League return after his prolific season at Atletico Madrid. But his father Goran has now poured cold water on the rumours, insisting most of the talk around Spurs and Newcastle is just wild speculation. Goran Sorloth, the father of reported Tottenham target Alexander Sorloth, has reacted to rumours linking the Atletico Madrid forward with a move back to the Premier League. The 29-year-old has attracted interest from Spurs and Newcastle United, with his Atletico future said to be uncertain this summer. The Norwegian, who scored 24 goals in 53 appearances for Diego Simeone's side last season, was last week reported to be unhappy after falling behind Giacomo Raspadori and Antoine Griezmann in the pecking order. Although Sorloth returned to the Iqai and scored during Atletico's 1-1 draw against Elche at Riyadh Air Metropolitano on Saturday, there is still talk that he could leave the La Liga club before the end of the transfer window. Indeed, Sorloth's dad Goran has since spoken about his son's future and admitted that he can deny the rumours that the former Villarreal and RB Leipzig man could be en route to English football once again. "I can deny most of it. It's a transfer window, and that's how it is. All summer and throughout January. I can deny that. It's just wild rumours," he told Dagbladet. There are definitely clubs that have their feelers out and want to strengthen their team. That's not surprising. Alexander Isak won't be a Newcastle player any longer, I see. There are several teams that have injuries and things like that, but Alexander is an Atletico Madrid player. Hopefully he'll start against Elche, then suddenly there's a little less chance. Then I think the rumour mill will quiet down a bit. Sorloth spent 2.5 years at Crystal Palace between 2018 and 2020, scoring once in 20 appearances, but has improved since that spell, finding some scintillating form in the last couple of years. After impressing on loan at Real Sociedad and then at Villarreal, Sorloth signed for Atletico in a £27.6 million deal last summer. Following a prolific season for Simeone's men, there is no surprise that interest has increased in him. While Tottenham are in the market for attacking reinforcements, Newcastle's need to strengthen their front line is all but greater, with Alexander Isak's future up in the air and Callum Wilson leaving at the end of his contract. When asked about whether Sorloth could move to Newcastle, Goran replied, "I certainly hope Alexander Sorloth is not satisfied with not getting more playing time. If he is satisfied, he will have to find something else to do." The season has just started. He had a slight hamstring injury before last weekend's game. Now he is fit. Richarlison has insisted he has always been focused on Tottenham, amid reports the striker could leave the club this summer. The 28-year-old only managed 24 appearances and 5 goals during an injury-disrupted 2024/25 campaign that was followed by renewed speculation about his future. Richarlison was mentioned as a possible makeweight in Spurs' attempt to sign Eberechi Eze, but the forward has revealed he never had any intention of leaving North London. The Brazil international made that clear to Frank on his first day in the job, and the new manager's supportive response was music to his ears. "It was very important," Richarlison said of that chat. "Since I got here, every time the transfer window opens, my name is circled as one who could leave going back to Brazil or wherever. But I've always been focused on Tottenham, and I've never had a conversation about leaving. I'm in a good moment. I hope to continue working hard and getting the opportunity to give my best." Richarlison has hit the ground running under Frank, with an impressive performance in the UEFA Super Cup against Paris Saint-Germain, followed by a brace as Spurs beat Burnley 3-0 in their Premier League opener. The Brazil international provided the cross for Brennan Johnson's opener in Saturday's 2-0 victory at Manchester City, and the former Everton star once more. "I'm very happy to be back," Richarlison told Brazilian broadcasters. "After a long time, I was able to do a full pre-season. Since the PSG game, I've been playing with a rhythm that I've not had for a while, so I've been able to get into that. I've been able to play a good game, and this is the result of a pre-season that was very good for me. Now I want to be able to continue like this and play like this. There's been a lot of meetings under Frank, but I like that meetings every day. I'm improving the tactical part and I'm training well to improve. Hopefully that comes in handy for our defenders. When it was our second goal, we were able to steal the ball and the goal came out. As I said, I'm going to continue like this, working hard, and hopefully things will happen."